Cool. All right. It feels so awkward starting it out,
I know it's kind of like
the intro
yeah,
portion. It's just like,
you just gotta do it.
just gotta welcome to our podcast. That's bad. I'm not doing that. How did I start it last time? Do you remember?
um, I think you just said welcome to our podcast and what it's called.
Okay.
I don't know. It wasn't. I don't think it was super like.
Anything special?
No, it wasn't special.
All right. Well, here we go. Ready? And welcome back. Well, hold on. Not welcome back. Welcome to. All right. Welcome to my podcast. Hold on. It's not my podcast.
It's okay. Take 3.
Take 25. Hold on. There's a dog. All right. Welcome to our podcast, Waking the Fuck Up. I am Ryan. I am one of your hosts, and I have Emily, which is our co-host.
Hello.
Hi, Emily. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Well, this is take 2 of episode 1 of our podcast because I messed up the first recording. So Emily and I had to come to a nice compromise that I will not have my microphone in my face the entire time.
Yes.
So she will be heard this time.
That's okay.
That's a work in progress.
It's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's all about.
Yeah, which is, the name of our podcast, waking the fuck up. We're not woke completely. We're getting there.
So all progress. So why don't you share where you're at right now in life and all the elements of your life.
All right, my introduction here. Well, like I said, I'm Ryan. I am a student currently, which I suppose will just be my job title. I am moving in a few weeks, so that's what's going on in my life currently. But a little, am I going into the background?
What?
Should I go into like the background stuff or like just current moment?
Yeah. Okay. No, your background, like why we're here.
Okay. Cool. I didn't know if we were like gonna like break it up. Whatever.
I'm like what?
You were zoned out. That's fine.
Right. I totally just didn't pick up like what you meant by the background.
But I got you. All right. Well, I was born in the 90s. I am a 90s baby. I was raised in the church, homeschooled, Christian. I was also on the mission field as a child, and then I grew up. And now I am a pagan who writes books and is in school in the medical field. And yeah, that's it. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty kind of parts of that. But what I want from this podcast is to be able to share my experiences. I have to back up a little bit, sorry. Share my experiences growing up in the church and how transitioning from being a Christian to not being a Christian and all the effects of that kind of lifestyle had on me, and hopefully spread awareness to other people and just tell my story. And if someone relates and it helps someone, then that's the goal. Yep. All right, Emily, your turn. Who are you?
First, I just have to say that was the most intriguing like introduction.
Really?
I was like, you're a pagan. You write books. You're in a medical field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I already knew all this stuff, but I was even like getting invested in the story.
Okay. Well, that's good because I was just kind of winging it. So I was like, it might just
Yeah.
be
No,
good.
I was like,
Okay.
dang girl. So I am a professional dog trainer. So that's been my full-time job for, let's see, 4 years now. So I own my own business. Um, I have been doing dog training for longer than that, but as far as really getting in the field, um, and I was raised evangelical Christian with like a hint of fundamentalism, which I believe,
Funny.
I mean, me and Ryan were raised very similar because
Mhm.
our mothers are sisters. Um, and so that's kind of where I still identify as a Christian, but I'm doing a whole lot of beliefs that have not worked for me. And I think me and Ryan both got to a place where we realized like a whole lot of stuff that we learned is not
Mhm.
working in the real world. And really like the damage that a lot of it has done to us way like way back. And then now, you get kicked off on your own and you're like, what the heck is all this?
Yeah.
And how it affects our relationships, how it's affected just feeling okay in ourselves. And so that's kind of with that stuff. And I mean, I think for both of us, with the intentions behind our podcast, is to help anyone else that is going through that whole unraveling of everything they knew,
Mhm.
and knowing the stuff that doesn't work, but not necessarily knowing what does work and where the answers lie. And I think we both have gotten to a good place of understanding where the answers are. It's just coming through the thick of all of this.
The
It's
red
kind of,
tape.
yes, and
Yeah.
kind of feeling like it's a mess, and finding people that do have um, not all the answers, but all the little steps along the way that we have found that you just go one foot in front of the other. Um, and so that's kind of, I think, where we both have landed. And then also, some things that we'll be covering is health. We both were diagnosed with the same autoimmune disease, coincidentally.
Twinning. Yay.
So we've had to go through that journey as well, which has been, again, another journey that no one has given us a guide to. We have
Mhm.
no little
Helper, nothing. And
no.
we got diagnosed with it around the same time too.
Yes, like a year apart, I
A
believe.
year apart, yeah. So we really, luckily, weren't totally floundering alone.
Yes.
But when we live states apart, it can still feel like you're drowning sometimes.
Yes. And I feel like even if you do have support,
Mhm.
it's very easy to feel like you're drowning with an autoimmune disease
Yeah,
because
sure.
it doesn't only affect one part of your life, it affects every part of your body, every part of your life, is how I feel.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's been a huge blessing to have someone, and I know it was purposeful that you were on the same journey with in a lot of realms. Um,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
we both are in, I mean, obviously it has taken us different places, with you being pagan and me still being Christian, which is what we were raised. Um, but at the same time, it's really not based on that. It's really based on um, the process and all of that we have both realized.
Yeah. And I was going to bring that up next, that yeah, we're also going to be talking about health, religion, culture, um purity culture. That will probably be a big point. Mental health also. And neither of us are professionals. I am a student. um so we're not giving professional advice. We're just here to share our stories and the short stories of others, I'm sure we'll have, in fact, I already am planning on having people coming on and talking with us about their own journeys with similar things and similar struggles of um, everything. So, but yeah, we are not professionals. We're just here to share our stories and the stories of others. And if you find solace and something we say is helpful, and then that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
And really, I think that there's so much value in just speaking and hearing someone else's story and resonating with it. And even just that, for in a lot of different times in my life, have been enough to just take the next step and feel like I can take the next step, is just hearing that someone else validates like where you're at makes sense to me because I'm there or I've been there. Just that alone has so much value in it when we are going through this very treacherous feeling,
Yeah.
process, journey, whatever you want to call it. It's just that alone is helpful. So of course we're not
Yeah.
professionals. Of course we're not going to give you individual advice that's we're going to swear by, but
Yeah.
just for us. And that's why it's waking up. It's not woke.
We're not awake totally.
We're not awake fully.
I'm groggy.
Yeah, we're a little groggy. Like
Don't talk to us. We won't process anything.
Yeah, we're gonna need a minute,
Write everything down. I'll get to it in 5 hours when I am completely awake.
And then I'll probably need another nap after that.
Yeah. Took a lot of work to get out of bed.
But yeah.
That's perfect. Love that. I'm really excited. We meant to start this last year, but we didn't.
Someone's been dragging their feet.
That someone is you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but hey, we're here. We're doing it. I am the problem child this time because I fucked up the first recording. So, also, I will be swearing. This is a swear word safe podcast. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but that is just how I talk. So, and I'm here to be myself. So, yeah. Emily probably won't be swearing unless she gets really passionate about something.
That's very true. Yes, I can't promise, but my day-to-day life, not much comes out of my mouth. However, if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it.
Mm-hmm. When you swear though, it's like whoa. Because you don't do it. So like when you do it, it's just like, okay, I better be paying attention to what's going on.
Packing the punch.
Mm-hmm.
No.
When I swear, it's just like, oh, that's just Ryan. I got my mom. So as always, I am the front runner, the entrepreneur, the what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck. The trendsetter of the family. Being the youngest child, I like to think of myself so highly, but I'm the one who really started swearing. None of my sisters, I mean, they did, but like not as much. And now I got my mom swearing. It's so funny.
Hey, if you can influence the parents, like you got something going for yourself.
Oh yeah. I mean, my dad is really inconsistent though. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh shit, and he won't say anything. And then the next time I'll be like, oh shit, he'll be like, hey, don't swear. Okay. Or not even shit. I said like, what the hell? And he's like, hey, which because it was hell. It was a little.
Oh yeah, you can't talk about hell.
Can't talk about it.
No. It exists, but we're not talking about that in this home,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's interesting like that the last generation is so sensitive about words. Like y'all do whatever the heck you want, but like when it comes down to like using a word, you're gonna be like, hey, no, Not in this home.
No. Can't say the word hell. It'll bring it to you.
Like when you like the gates of hell are gonna open up and like take us because like we said it. Like I don't really understand why we giving it so much power if like
oh, the AC is on. Cool. It's like that that theory of like whatever, when you say something it attracts it to you. I'm convinced that that might be part of it.
no, I think it is, but it's also just like based on like fear,
Yeah.
which to me is like okay, some mixed messages going on here.
Yeah. You know what I also realized after the fact of our first recording, if any of our family listens to this, this is my official like coming out of the broom closet.
I would say probably similar to me for other in other ways, but yes, I think that some people will be surprised.
Yeah. And I have an aunt on my dad's side, bless her heart. She sends me too many things on Facebook, but she'll like send me like Christian music, and I just am like, oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. She doesn't mean anything by it. She doesn't know. I used to when I was first starting out, I would get like super offended by like that kind of stuff of someone being like, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm like, you don't. But now I'm like, hey, if that's what you want to do it.
Well, yeah, I think that that's like a good place to be in because
Mhm.
it really is. I mean, if you're looking at people's intentions, like
Yeah.
generally, some, I mean,
Oh,
some
some people
you know
you
what they're
know,
up
yeah, but you
to.
know like what the tone and the intention behind them saying
Yeah.
for
No, you
doing
just
something.
always do. And then, but yeah, I mean, that's a good place to understand that everyone is coming from a different place. And if they don't mean harm by it, they don't mean harm by it. But
Yeah.
so that's very gracious of you.
Thank you. I like to think of that. And it's funny when I tell people that I am pagan, sometimes they like dance around Christian topics, I guess.
Yeah.
But without me even like saying anything, like before they know, they don't think anything about it. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, like I am pagan. And then they're like, oh, and they just don't want to like be disrespectful,
Mm-hmm.
which is very sweet. But I'm like, you do realize like you're allowed to talk about anything you would have talked about before you knew this information.
Yeah,
Like,
I would say I experience the same as being Christian, like, because there's obviously people in the world that are non-Christians. And they're like always like, oh, sorry, I said that word in front of you. And I was just like, I don't care.
yeah, like, oh, it's an interesting experience, just life in general.
Mm-hmm. But I do
But
think that pagan is less understood. I mean, I can't
mm-hmm.
even say that I fully, when you said you're pagan, knew
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is what pagans believe or what paganism even is. So I think paganism is definitely more misunderstood or not even known about
Yeah,
than Christianity, obviously.
yeah. In the world, well, I guess not in the world, in the United States, where Christianity is the most popular religion, paganism definitely takes on some misunderstandings. Like if you look up the definition of pagan, one of the synonyms, I'll put quotes around that, synonyms is heathen,
Mm.
which is uh, not quite right, but that's just influenced by a misunderstanding between Christians or fundamentalist Christians and pagans.
Yeah.
But we can get into all the nuance of what paganism is because it's a beautiful, complicated mess. But
Okay.
Yeah. And what you went to the beach at 9 o'clock. Why? Nine,
I just wanted to get out with my dogs. So
with
I went out this morning. I took them on a walk.
you went alone?
Yeah, with me and my dogs. Yeah.
Well, you have scary dog privilege, so
Yes. No, it's true. I was thinking about that because I would never walk at 9 o'clock by myself, which kind of
Mhm.
sucks that I can't do that. However, I got my two big girls, so
Oh yeah.
they got my back.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, so I just
Do
want
you
to get out.
think do you think Scout would uh have your back or would you have her back?
No, it's funny with her. I mean, she switches. She's definitely got that Malinois in her.
No, yeah.
She's a big chicken, but I have seen her when she has like she's very sensitive to energy. So when she
Mm.
feels like a heavy energy, she's ultra aware of that person, and she kind of goes from her like normal like what's that in that bush to like her chest gets out like and I've seen her. I mean, I've had people roughhouse like try to like act like they're gonna smack me or whatever, like
Hmm.
brother.
Ah,
And she definitely gets in there and she'll bark, she'll jump at him. So um, I
good.
I believe in her. But having a Malinois mix and a Rottweiler mix is definitely whether people whether they actually do something or not, people aren't gonna really test the theory. So
Yeah. Well, I feel like your dogs are like sneaky dogs. They're like in the car world that I know nothing about, they call like the sleeper cars because they like look normal, but then they're modified, whatever. That's what your dogs are. They're sleepers. Like you look at them, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a Rottweiler mix.
yes,
In my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a lab mix.
yes. No, she
But
looks like a lab. Everyone thinks she's a lab.
but
By all intents and
she's
purposes.
built.
No, but she's definitely got that Rottweiler spirit. Like
Oh
she's
yeah.
not this little like doo doo doo.
Well, her head is pretty blocky, and her nose is a little shorter, like a Rottweiler.
Yeah,
If we
if
sit
you
like
look
look
at
at
her, like you definitely could see it, but it's not gonna be the first thing you
her.
think. But
Yeah.
um, she's she's a little beastie. Both of them, like, yeah, they're interesting because they're so different, yet they both have the same kind of like really sweet side, but like when it comes down to it, they got little beasts inside of them that you got to really make sure you got control over.
Yeah. My little hellhounds.
Yeah. Yep. That would
Yes.
be a good word.
Well,
Don't
that's.
say hell though. Don't say hell.
Oh shit. Fuck.
Heaven hounds.
Well,
My angels.
hey, I have angels around me because I do some of the stupidest shit sometimes. When I was younger, more, I would go outside alone at
Oh
midnight
my gosh.
in our downtown area. Like, so we have where I currently live. Right next to my house is the downtown area. And we have like the parking garage, and that's where all the cool kids hang out or used to before the cops shut us down.
Oh,
um,
wow.
I know we're just hooligans, pure hooligans. But no, I would go up there when no one. It would be like 2 a.m. No one's around, and I would walk down all the stairs down to the bottom because they had like a pond down there or a fountain, I guess. And I would go like stand in the fountain just because I don't know, I had insomnia. I was bored. It was 2 a.m. What else am I going to do? But then, like, cars, I'm thinking about one time in particular, like a car like slowed down and like trailed me. I was like,
They're probably like, is this girl okay?
or they're like, can I steal this person?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I saw that, I'd be like, girl, if you're
And
standing in a fountain at 2 a.m., like that would, I mean, That might be valid as well, but they could have wanted you. I mean,
I wasn't standing in the fountain yet. I was like in the process of going to the fountain, and then they like started like following me, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the best moment to be in a fountain. So I like turned around and like went back up and got in my car.
I mean, that's definitely sketch.
Yeah. I've also I used to have a friend, broad daylight. She locked her keys in her car, and we were in front of a store of the adult genre. And we're waiting for her parents to bring the spare key. And we're just kind of standing talking about whatever. And I look over and I see this guy in this car, and he had been in the store prior. No, I didn't really get any vibes from him. He was minding his business. He wasn't like lurking or anything. But he came out and like got in his car, and he was like listening to us talk. And then her parents came, we got the key. And suddenly I like look over at him, and he's still like watching us, and he like sticks his hand out the window. And
Okay.
and he has like a stack, like a band, like stack of hundreds.
What?
And he's like holding it out to me, like trying to get me. I wish. He was like, I like just kind of like glanced over at my friend and the other girl who was with us, and I was like, we need to go. Because he was like trying to like get me or us to like walk over to his car, because he's like waving hundreds around. I want to, and I was like, we should go. We should not be here. And then we got in the car and left, and he put his money away, I hope.
That would have been like the time I wish I would have had like those little grabbers that like you reach something up in the cupboard with.
Oh yeah, like a trash picker upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
I like really wish I would have like walked over and just like, because he had his whole arm out the window, so I could have just walked over and grabbed the money out of his hand and like walked
drop the
away.
cash and leave. No, I would not go up to someone's car. I would not go into like reaching distance of a person of that nature. However, if possible, safely procure the funds, like I'd do that. But
And he was younger too. He wasn't old. And from what I remember, he wasn't unattractive. But I was just like, why are you waving money at me?
you sure was it Monopoly money? Like,
No, it was real.
that's kind of weird. Also, that you would just like the whole situation, like
Oh yeah.
you'd have a stack of hundreds in your car. Like for what reason? Was
For what reason?
plan? Like they just he knew that he was gonna attract.
See some.
Yeah, someone be like, hmm.
He's premeditated
Yeah.
trying to pay me to be cute is what I assumed.
I mean, valid assumption.
Yeah. And that's what I was like, I should have just walked over and taken the cash and like walked away. Like, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do?
She stole my hundreds out of my hand.
I would be like, he was handing them to me. It is on like CCTV. You can watch him hold the money out to me. He was giving it to me.
Like, what kind of car was he driving?
I don't remember. I don't remember. It was either nice or trashy. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But he was well dressed. He was younger, and I don't super remember what his face looked like, but I remember not being like, this guy is ugly or unattractive. He was attractive.
Well, that's
but
good.
it was just weird. Oh yeah, we can trust him because the young attractive ones never murder you.
No. It's always the ones with the mustaches. So
he had facial hair.
Like, was it full on like beard, mustache? Was just that creepy mustache?
It was like the stubble
Okay.
beard, so it wasn't just a mustache.
So we're good.
However, if it was just a mustache, I would have been much more alarmed.
Yeah, it's all those mug shots. They always got just the mustache, so there's stubble everywhere. I mean, I think we're good. We were good. So I mean, you could have got a sugar daddy out of it, but lost opportunity.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, I was more concerned with the safety of others and not myself. I was just like, my friends, they need to leave.
Okay.
Other than myself, I was unconcerned for myself because I could have just punched him. I don't know.
I love the confidence.
I mean, hey, no,
I
I'm not.
just punched him and ran.
Punched him and took his money. Yeah. So, I didn't have scary dog privileges, but I had daylight.
Yeah, daylight's good, especially when you're outside an adult store when you're like how old?
Oh, I was 18, 19. Maybe, yeah, 18, 19. Not 20.
Yeah,
He was not 20 yet. Wait,
still.
was I 20? Hold on. Time is an illusion. I will say 19, 20,
Okay.
around there, but definitely not 21. Definitely not.
So you
So
weren't able to drink yet. So
I was not able to drink yet. And yeah, but so I was legal in his defense, but I was with someone who was not legal. So
I
that
don't
was,
I don't know if I would put that in his defense, but it's good, I guess.
I mean, he
It
could have
helps.
asked
It helps.
before offering.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. But see, these are just the kind of stories you're going to enjoy on our podcast. Sorry, Mom.
Our moms are gonna have fun with this one.
Do you think your mom's going to listen?
Oh, I think somehow, some way, if I say something, my mom's ears are going to hear
Well,
it.
hi, Auntie. Love you. Love everyone who's listening, if you are.
We love everyone.
Equally.
Mhm.
As in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Some more equally than others.
I was trying to make a moment, a Christian moment. You just ruined it.
I'm just being real. Honesty and truth.
Yeah. Okay. That's the core principles of any healthy relationship, truly.
Yeah. Our relationship with ourselves,
Others, the
others.
universe, God, God's, depending on who you are. Um, what was I gonna? Hold on, I had a thought.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and on this podcast, we're gonna be talking about all sorts of things, and another reason and to get back on topic of what this is about. Um, Another reason we're gonna have this podcast is, adults don't always agree with each other. Emily has some ideas I don't agree with. I have some ideas Emily doesn't agree with. But you know what? We're all adults. We're all entitled to our opinion, and we can disagree without being mean to each other,
Yes.
which
And
some people uh, in the world have do not have that skill. So
I would say probably most people, if you
I was
don't
thinking
agree.
just old people, older.
Yeah, definitely this generation has been very good. As much as y'all want to hate on this generation, old people, like our generation, I feel like is the most willing to come together
And have conversations too.
and have conversations, have open mindedness, which is like looked down
Mm.
upon again by the older people. But I think that has been great. Um, for just, I mean, we're all humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And to be able to see each other for our humanity, which I think again is like we're winning at that one in this generation.
Yeah.
Um, I think the older generation wants to put everyone in boxes and we label them good or bad. And then obviously for them, if you don't agree with them, you're probably gonna be in the bad box because they're putting themselves in the good box. And yeah, that's the downfall of past generations, but yes.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, it's our generations are more aware of certain things like mental health and different ideas and having conversations. Are we perfect? No, because we're humans. But we also, for the most part, recognize that humans are humans. And also, we don't take bullshit.
No.
We do not take bullshit, which is something I'm noticing. Well, I've been known, but noticing again, I guess, this past week of like, just because. So if I did something bad and I can be like, oh, well, I have anxiety. That's why I did that. And I'm like, people are like going to be like, no, you're not allowed to be a shitty person and be like, well, I have anxiety. That's why I did that. Like, you still got to have accountability for your actions, which I feel like in the older generation, and it's an idea, I guess, of, well, they can't help it. It's not them, it's this.
Yes.
Um,
I think accountability that's the word I thought of when you were saying that. That has been huge, and just I think that's been one of my more recent coming tos is for myself, being willing and able to hold other people accountable because I'm more of a person that has been the doormat, like learned to be a doormat for
mhm,
people, where I have seen like a pattern of just there's either like victims or abusers. And the
mhm,
word victim is interesting because like I feel like we have like this when we hear the word victim, we're instantly thinking that that person's victimizing themselves. But it really is. There's like the ones that come out on top, the ones that come out on bottom. It just is. And I was more of the one that's like, I'm not going to hurt a fly, but yet I'm going to allow people to walk all over me. And so, very recent, have I learned to hold people accountable and what that looks like and not make excuses
yeah,
for, oh, they only did this because of this and they're, this and that. And then, but it does come from a place of when you realize you're taking responsibility for yourself, for your actions, um, for your whole life,
mhm,
and undoing things that are you have learned that's hurtful to yourself and others. Then you're taking that like ultra responsibility. It comes a lot easier to hold other people accountable. But yeah, accountability is huge. But yeah, the and I would say like anxiety is semi new, like still. I think it was the little generation right before us kind of came about it, and then it quickly became a good excuse for people,
yeah,
which is valid in a whole lot of ways, but not valid to be a shitty human being.
yeah,
And so, and now we have so much more help and understanding around it, which I'll give that to people in the past that there wasn't a whole lot of understanding, and it is a thing that really affects how you function.
yeah,
So there's that. But
yeah. And that's the older generation definitely didn't recognize mental health very much. Like, once I started going to therapy and started talking about mental health and being like, oh, anxious and anxiety, this is what causes it, blah blah blah. And I'm very open about things. Um, and it wasn't until like I started doing that my mom was like, I never considered myself anxious until you started talking about what anxiety is. And I was like, I could have told you that you're a little anxious, just a little bit. And so it's just like they don't think about it, and they don't uh yeah, they just don't recognize it in themselves or in others as like not an issue, but like something to take care of, I guess.
yeah, there was no
Can't
awareness
ignore it.
around it, and a
Yeah.
whole lot of misunderstanding around it. And yeah. then that's why, I mean, especially within the Christian community,
Mm-hmm.
therapy, I was like,
Oh boy.
no, you got to pray harder. You need to read your Bible more. It was more linked to you needing therapy as you denying that God has
Christ.
the ability to heal you of
Yeah.
that. And that you need to forgive someone. Like, these are the answers that they're going to give you if you come to, which I have literally been through it all. I mean, talking to pastor wives, leaders in the church, like those are all where the places I sought help first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was invalidated or gaslit or um, minimized my issues and acted like I was just like having these high needs and I need to be more content.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. Like, and then it was just like listening to that little bit inside me where I tried everything they tried, but I just knew something was not okay. And things were not working. And I knew where I wanted to be and what I wanted my life to look like. And it was going the opposite direction as I'm following all the things that I have learned.
Yeah.
Um, but therapy itself, which I started therapy, and a lot of people don't know that within my Christian community because of the stigma that is around it. And I was told by multiple people, you need to pray more, you need to read your Bible more, you need to spend time with God more. And it was like, I can't do it any more than I'm doing it. Like, what do you want from me?
You have to
What
actually
is
become a nun 24
Yeah,
hours.
I mean, that was like, what does God want from me? Like, how, like, I will sell my soul, like, not really, like, but like, I
Hey,
will
I will.
like do whatever you like, whatever. Like, I don't know anymore. But when you're told the same solution over and over and over again, and then no one's really validating you,
Mm-hmm.
um, it does not is not productive to healing process, and it's actually very harmful. But just the idea around therapy, and I had to step out of it. And what's interesting is like I really felt like that's where God was leading me. And I'm listening to all these voices and they're
Human,
telling me, what was that?
human voices.
Human voices. But it's so funny because they're telling me God this and God that because we read this Bible verse and we interpret it this way. Of course, to them, it's not interpretation, it is the truth for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that you need to seek counsel within the church, you need to do this, this, and this. And then the counsel is telling me basically the thing that is God is leading me to is not of God. And so it was just like, okay, I am just gonna have to listen to myself, which again is considered like rebellion, to not listen to the leaders. And so that's where the gaslighting comes in, where it's just like there's no winning, like there's no like support for sure. You're then going to be judged for that. um and yeah, so me going to therapy was a huge step, and that's a big thing that needs to be undone within the church is the judgment, the stigma, the misunderstanding, and then feeling like you have a right to tell other people what's best for them.
Mm-hmm. And you even saw a Christian counselor or Christian therapist,
Yes,
and
my
that
first
still didn't even work out.
no, my first experience was a Christian therapist, and she was, I mean, she was a certified therapist.
Yeah.
Um, she had her degree in psychology. I think she got her master's, doctorate. I don't know.
He
She
was
was whatever. I
definitely
mean, she
a
could
doctorate.
go and be a therapist in any right, like, or a psychologist, in any right. Like, she had the degrees, which is what I was looking for. I was looking for degrees, but with a Christian basis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it screwed me over. Like, it did not help me. It made it again worse. So that was also defeating in that I now went and stepped out and went to a Christian therapist because again, I wanted to be under the um influence of God. Like, it was what I felt, that was what was going to come of it, was that I wasn't going to step out of my faith, and like I was taught to be fearful anyways of outside influence, and that
Yeah.
once you let that in, it's a slippery slope, which is literally the term that is used, slippery slope.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, but it screwed me over. I did it for a year. I went every single week for a year. I spent a whole lot of money for it. Um, and it opened up. I mean, it helped me in a sense that it opened up a lot of wounds and awareness to those wounds, but the solutions were not there. They just
Yeah.
weren't. So, um, I end up now I see a counselor who is not necessarily, she's a mental health coach, but not necessarily like with all the degrees per se, or the level of degrees to call herself a psychologist. Um, but she has been a light in my world. And I can't thank her enough for just the truth and light. Like that's exactly what I refer to her as, is truth and light. And she doesn't identify with any religion per se, but um it has made so much more sense than anything I've ever come across, because it really resonates with me as a human being, as myself. Um
Yeah.
and that we do have that within us, that, for me, I do believe the Holy Spirit lives in us, and we all have our spirit, and that guides us. And we want to believe in the Christian community that is like the voice of the devil, basically.
Yeah.
But when you feel that peace that comes with it, where that peace I've never sought really anywhere else too much. Like at times there's been peace in my life, but for the most part, my inner world has not been peaceful. Um, so it it's been quite the process of branching out from every single thing I've ever learned around that, around mental health.
Yeah. Deconstructing and rebuilding.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, well, see, and you went to a counselor who has no religious affiliations almost, and which is how it should be. You shouldn't let your religion into a professional practice of, especially with mental health.
No, she's spiritual. That's how I would. I mean, I think she would define herself that way as well.
Yeah.
Um, but she's not religious, and that honestly is what I aspire to be or am. Um,
Yeah. And then I went to my therapist. I had just become pagan, was really coming into myself as like accepting that. I didn't talk about it, and then like I talked about it like a little bit, and we just kind of looked at each other, and it was like, "Are you? Yeah, yeah. Are you? Yeah." It's like this big like secret like meeting of like, "Wait, are you pagan? Yeah. Wait, are you? Yeah." Now we're both. So that was fun. She she helped me a lot of like dealing with that kind of stuff too. Like, hey, it's okay. You're not gonna go to hell for believing something different than what you were raised. It's fine.
and I think that's important, to find a mental health practitioner that is in alignment with you.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that if you are branching out and looking for help, you're not always going to find it on the first try or maybe even the second try, and that's okay. And I kind of wish I would have been more aware of that with my first therapist, that it doesn't mean that you're broken. Because I think that's what I thought, like, oh, this person knows and they're automatically going to give me the answers that I need. And if not, then that was a reflection of me like being helpless, because that's what it ended up me feeling, was like I'm a lost cause, because this person who has all these degrees was not able to help me or make or fix me, basically, which I wasn't relying on them to fix me, but help me find the answers. And when that did not happen, I really doubted myself, where She might be great and might be exactly what someone else needs, but it wasn't for me. And I probably should have left earlier, but I do believe that every process is there for a reason. So there probably is stuff that I got from it that helped me to at least maybe gave me a step forward, but also showed me what doesn't work again, which is also helpful. But just knowing when we're looking into it that we have to find someone that's in alignment, and that can be tricky when you're not sure where you are at. But I think we have both found that. I think we feel good about the people that we have now.
Oh yeah.
And now, I mean, you found, was it your first try?
Oh yeah, first try. Picked her randomly from a list of people.
Dang.
I just had to no, I didn't do this, but I was gonna say I closed my eyes and let intuition take over. Honestly, she was just closest to me.
That would have been a good story, but
Yeah, I was just like, hey, she sounds cool. That's what I was looking for, like a woman, because I had trauma with men in my life, so I had big problems trusting men. So I was like, okay, I need a woman, and that's the only prerequisite. And let's go from here. All right, there she is. Let's go there. Give it a try. And 3 years later, still going strong. Probably the healthiest relationship I have.
That's always good. I mean, if it's like the one thing you always fall back on, like, well, at least I have a good relationship with my therapist.
Yeah, I mean, I have healthy relationships with my partner and other people in my life, but yeah, she hears everything, and that's why I'm moving. She's like, is this it? And I'm like, girl, what? No, I'm calling you.
You're like, peace out.
I'm FaceTiming you. You gotta keep up with this shit that is my life. You're too deep in now.
I mean, that's what's kind of cool nowadays, anyways. I especially think the pandemic helped a lot of people that weren't comfortable doing things like that over like FaceTime and stuff. Help bring that one out for everyone. So we have that ability these days. So you literally have someone across the country that if they work for you, you now have access to them. So unlimited choices, basically. I mean, across the world, which is cool.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of companies didn't think about it even as an option.
Yes.
They're just like, why would we do that? And then Miss Rona hit, and they're like, okay, now it's our only option.
Thanks, Rona. So. Well, I'll say for my business, I never would have thought that I could do a Zoom call for dog training, but I have done it and it's been good. So opened up that one for me.
Yeah. It really just, for me, it just was like, oh, I'm in person. Now I'm in online classes. Yay.
Yeah.
Which, soup's fun. But yeah, all right. Well, second recording, that was pretty good. I feel like that was much more put together than the first one.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh. I mean, in terms of us talking, it was still just ADHD fueled random talking, but I feel like it was more natural this time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I felt like the beginning of maybe the last one was better. I don't know.
Hey, you said my introduction was amazing, so.
Oh, yes.
Well, now I'm gonna be self-conscious of that.
No, I don't feel that way. Also, who freaking cares? Because
they'll never hear it. They won't know.
Yeah, no, you have nothing to compare. We have nothing to compare to. So this is the best, definitely.
True. Well, if you liked us talking or like any of the subjects we speak on, feel free to follow and subscribe to our channel here to keep up with us. If you like us, you can follow me on Instagram at ryan.m.s. or if you want to not do that, that's fine. I don't really care. I don't post on there all that much, but keep up with me sometimes. Or if you want to put a face to the voice. And yeah, Emily, what do you got?
I do not have anything exciting, nor I'm gonna have to revamp my Instagram if I'm gonna be giving out my handle, because I'm like pictures from like 2001 that like pretty much want no one to see.
Yeah.
So.
All right. See you guys next episode for whatever we have to talk about. I know Emily has a plan because she told me.
I always have a plan.
You never have a plan.
Have stuff to talk about.
No, well, that.
Yes, I got a plan.
All right. Sweet. Like, follow, hit the notification bell if you like us enough. See you next time.